Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Gearhead, this is John. We're in the shop today, just fiddling around because today is the day that you guys didn't even know you were waiting for. And this is proof that heckling your friends and kind of being a bully can really benefit you in the long run. And I mean that in the most unsincere way possible. Don't bully people, unless they're your friends. And then don't actually be a bully. There's a difference. And those of you out there that are listening, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, moving on. The old Supernova, sitting here. Yes, it doesn't look much different. I really haven't had a whole lot to do with it lately. I've been working on the engine, and the engine has presented me with some problems. As you can tell, I'm pacing around because I'm impatient, waiting for Nate to get here with the secondary project car. Blocks there, did a little bit of cleanup, got the cam bearings in it the other day. I did ruin one, Shazam. So I had to get a whole other set. Got the second set, got the last one in, the one that I messed up the first go around. Got ready to lay the crankshaft in the engine and realized that it was stored dirty, not oiled up very well, and there are rust pits on almost every journal. So, having said that, I looked around at my other stuff. My 5.3 I have right here. This is one that's the Gen 4 5.3 that I've had for a couple years. Crank is good in it, except it's got a ding in, I think it's a number 3 cylinder rod journal. It's like something has hit it. So, made a phone call to a buddy of mine and I says, hey, technically it wasn't a phone call. Who uses phones these days? So I text the guy and I was like, hey, do you have any cranks laying around for, 3.6 22 stroke, 5.3 6-liter stroke? He goes, no. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think I might have a couple. I actually got 2 complete motors. I said, well, I don't want to take apart your engines, whatever. I said, I'm just looking for a crank. Mine's got pits in it. I can't use it, whatever. I mean, I can. I just had to have it ground, and I have standard bearings for it, and so it seemed really dumb to just throw those away. If I could get another crank for little to nothing, whatever. So we went and picked up another engine. He had a storage unit. He's got a bunch of car parts in, and that there is the 5 tray. And last night, off camera because I'm an idiot, we tore it down, and somehow we pulled the crank out of the engine without taking the heads off. Yeah, oh yeah, it can be done. It's not the most fun, but we did. And I don't know if this is gonna focus in worth a hoot here, but there is some staining on that main journal and just a wee little bit of pitting on that front main. Rod's good, main's good, rod good, main good, rod good, main good, rod good, and the rear main. Absolutely, excuse me, rear crank bearings. I don't know why I call it main. It just happens sometimes, guys. It's got some pretty gnarly pitting right here, like catch your fingernail on it, gnarly. So it looks like I'm gonna send one to the machine shop. Anyways, wasted some time, wasted some footage, and to be honest with you, it was too irritating, so I just kind of give up mid-stroke, and I decided, you know what, we'll continue on later. Anyways, moment of truth is coming here real shortly. By the time you see this next 15 seconds worth of footage, it'll be here. Man, I am excited to show you what we got in store for you next. Check this out. All right, guys, here it is. This is something like you have never seen before on YouTube. I'm almost 99% confident of that. This is a car that a buddy of mine picked up, Nate, who you're gonna meet here in a second. Under some unfortunate circumstances, but it is a cool car nonetheless. So, without further ado, I give you the Excalibur. Oh yeah. That's the one. If you're thinking Cruella de Vil, you are right. All right, so that's Nate. Nate from Cowboy Customs. He doesn't have YouTube because he sucks, so he's gonna pirate mine. I watch all kinds of YouTube. He watches it all the time. Mostly stuff that you need to be 18 for. This is the Excalibur. The Cruella de Vil mobile. Whatever. Phantom. And that is pure 1980 what? 6? Part of it's an 86, part of it's an 89. It's got 2 VIN numbers. There we go, it'll half-ass stay. This is part 3rd gen Camaro, so it makes my inner trailer hood feel really good. But it was involved with a slight collision with a, well, with a, yeah, I would say a pole, and that, well, did a number to it. The gal that owned it drove around dressed up like Cruella de Vil, and she's a pretty cool lady. Made it look a little bit more like an actual Camaro. Yeah, well, true story. And after this thing was wrecked, obviously totaled, she found another one. And so Nate picked it up and we are gonna play with it. Maybe make it a mob's car once again. Limousine's the plan. Limo, oh. Limousine's super stretch, that's why you have that Cadillac limo at home, huh? So yeah, nothing, there's no gaps, there's no, it's not the same day. Yesterday we got the car inside, we heaved it off the trailer, got it centered up on the lift and got it physically off the ground. To kind of reiterate what happened here, gal had this thing, the old lady that owned it had it parked and it rolled down an embankment and a hill, and the first thing to stop it was well, a pole. Don't really know exactly what happened. I don't know the whole details of it. This was 2 or 3 years ago that this happened. This car's been sitting around ever since. You couldn't tell by the wildlife growing on it. So to correct an earlier statement, this is not an Excalibur, this is a Phantom. There's a lot of misconceptions, and I'll be obvious and honest with this. I got it messed up. The Phantom, the Excalibur, things like that, those kit cars kind of all have a, I don't know if you want to call it a cult following or whatever, but at any rate, this is the Phantom. It does have a small black Chevy V8 in it. Not 100% sure what it is, but this thing had 17,000 original miles on it. The front of the car is kit. The rear of the car, well, I should say the chassis is 3rd gen F-body. The rear was also kit parts. So to go ahead and raise this thing up in the air, and we'll go ahead and take a look at some other stuff here just to kind of show you what's going on with this ride. All right, car's up in the air. Let's go ahead and do a quick little walk around underneath of it just to kind of show everybody, you know, this is what these cars are made out of in their core. We're looking at a legitimate 3rd gen suspension setup, 3rd gen exhaust. This thing still retains a torque arm, factory mounts. A lot of this stuff is the skins are cut off and they're grafted onto the stock chassis. You can see where the impact rolled this ahead, kinked over the shock, and actually pushed this wheel and everything up and into this fender well. Way up in there. It's kind of hard to tell where it was at, but it was way up in there to the point where this wheel was wedged. So using the old Badlands winch and chain this thing down, Nate was able to scoot that axle back so this thing can roll. Moving back ahead, I hope this light works good enough. This is all I really got at the moment. Torque arms there. This has a rebuilt transmission in it. It still has factory catalytic converters, which is just bonkers to me anyways. Hoping that the transmission didn't get hurt. You can see that the, oh, there we go. The yoke has been knocked up into the transmission tail housing pretty hard. Not really 100% sure whether or not these leaks were present beforehand. It's just hard to say because this isn't exactly like, one of your average everyday customer vehicles. Rear end, don't matter, it's gonna get cut out, it's gonna get thrown away. The wheels and tires will get kept. Transmission will get kept. The exhaust, all this stuff will get pulled out, thrown away. We'll probably go with headers of some sort. Just depends on the situation. We're in talks of some pretty ridiculous changes to this car. On that list, at least for the time being, will not be the engine. The engine's going to stay stock. Maybe intake, a carburetor, get rid of the smog manifolds, get rid of all that kind of junk. Don't know 100% what the engine is yet. Small block Chevy, most likely to be a 305, just due to the fact that it doesn't appear to be a Z28 or a IROC Z. So it's really tough to tell. Transmission was rebuilt, 7 years ago by the previous owner. Unknown miles on it. As irritating as it can be, there was no real documentation on stuff like that. So whatever. And no, I know what y'all are thinking. I'm not gonna just go ahead and walk right on past that without talking about it. This is how these cars are built, and I can't for the life of me figure out why that's a thing. The one bolt is broken off in the subframe, so they're tight. These janky things are tight, but that's how it is. There's a flat piece of steel that runs down, got your motor mounts on it, runs across and over. Not all that terribly built. Nice rec tube, which is actually welded to the stock front subframe. And you see they went all out with it, including leaving the motor mounts on it. Stock gearbox, a very long and fabricated steering shaft. Yeah, stock suspension. It's literally a lot of third generation Camaro. Having said that, there is so much room for improvements and upgrades that it is not even funny. So you can bet that's gonna happen. I really would love it if everybody, like, subscribe, comment on this, share it. We'd love to have everybody kind of come back and check us out on this build. We're gonna go ahead and leave the full build content in the dark, because truth be told, the plan is pretty ridiculous, and it is going to be in an amazing kind of way. The only thing that this vehicle will retain as far as physical parts is from the firewall forward. We're going to go ahead and by that I mean we're going to cut the firewall out. The firewall back, it's all going away. We're going to have a different front end, suspension frame lines. We're going to do some alterations there. The rear is going to be different. The cab chassis, or the cab of the car, I guess you would want to call it, will be another third gen. Nathan has a third gen Firebird that he has for a parts car. So yeah, in a roundabout way, with all the ramble, that car is going to be awesome. And like we said, we'd really love you guys to come back, anybody to come back, like it, share it, subscribe, do all that stuff. Come check us out later. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and call it done for this one today. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later.